Welcome to another episode of the B-Roll Podcast. I am Mary and this is RJ, and we're excited tonight because on tonight's episode, this is our first ever interview with some friends of mine. My husband's just now getting to meet them. I don't know, it's been a year of me like talking to you guys back and forth, I feel like already now. Crazy that time has flown by. But I am super excited to have the founders, the creators of Artos Marketplace here with us tonight. We've got Tim, Sam, and Liam. I have been talking to them for, like I said, almost a year now. I think we got connected over what you guys are building over there, which I'll let you guys say all that. But I want to thank you guys for being here tonight, and let's go ahead and just jump into this. So first of all, I'm just going to go off of the way my screen is. I have Tim up in the left-hand corner. Tell us who you are, what you do, where you're from, and how long you've been Orthodox.
Hey everyone, I'm Tim Deschamps. I am the business lead. So we have, I guess, two companies kind of going on here. We have Lampstand Digital, which is our web development company, and then Artos is a project of Lampstand Digital. So I'm the business lead at Lampstand Digital, so I handle all the business side of things with Artos as well. I am up in northern New Hampshire, up in the White Mountains, with my 4 boys and my wife. I've been Orthodox now for going on 5 years is when I converted. Yeah, I think that's all your questions.
Which parish do you belong to?
Holy Resurrection in Berlin, New Hampshire.
Awesome. All right, yep. Sam, tell us about you.
Hey, I'm Sam. I'm the head of design at Lampstand Digital, and obviously Artos, as Tim said, a project of Lampstand. I am married. We have 3 beautiful children, 2 girls and a little boy who's just about 5 months old. And I am actually still inquiring into Orthodoxy. It's sort of a long story, but I've been doing that for several years now, just sort of enjoying the fringes, touching the hem of the garment, as it were, and have been able to visit and have a good relationship with the folks over at Holy Trinity here in Detroit, Michigan. So I think, was there anything else you'd want to know?
That's about it.
Okay, great. Yeah.
All right, and Liam, tell us about you.
Hey everyone, my name is Liam Davis. My baptismal name is David. I grew up outside of Boston, and that's where I currently live with my beautiful wife and 2 beautiful kids. I'm the head of development at Lampstand, and as a result, I'm the lead developer of Artos Market, which we'll get into. And let's see, I've been baptized for just over 1 year, which, I mean, it feels like, I don't know if it feels like a long time or not a lot of time, but yeah, it's been an incredible time. And I go to the parish, St. John the Russian Orthodox Church in Ipswich, Massachusetts, Roker Parish.
That's awesome. Okay, so you guys are pretty like spread out. How did you guys get connected with each other?
Well, we met through the St. Paisios Brotherhood, which is a men's group. I think it's largely online. There is a physical presence, but we were just kind of at a point where I think I reached out. I said, I'm free for work, for development. I'm a developer. And then Tim was like, hey, I'm free for work. I'm in business. And then Sam was like, hey, I have some opportunity. And pretty quickly we hit it off. And that was November of 2024. And so that's an incredible group, an incredible asset for men to be able to meet, talk, and engage in fellowship. So we reaped the benefits of that, and we just kind of hit the ground running.
That's all. I've never heard of that group. Have you?
Yes, that's this week's free ad week. Ad read.
Yeah, there you go. You can put the link at the bottom, I guess.
Yeah. We'll do that.
Father Hans will be pleased.
Yeah, so on our podcast, we actually always do a free Orthodox ad read of the week where you just kind of surprise businesses by who we're reading an ad for. Would you like to explain this week's free ad read?
That's about as much as I know.
I was going to have it the Artos, but I mean, we can do 2.
I get their emails.
Okay.
I don't read very many of them, but I've heard of it, and it seems like a wonderful resource. So,
oh yeah,
you 3 of you were participating in that and met there, and were able to form this adventure from that. So
we'll do the ad read for both I guess, Artos and St. Paisios. But since you guys have the experience with the men's group, can you explain the men's group a little bit?
Well, I could probably speak on that the best of all three of us. I actually was the deputy director of the St. Paisios Brotherhood for about 2 years. And then I switched gears and joined up with these guys and started our web development venture. So the St. Paisios Brotherhood offers a variety of programs. It's primarily online. They're trying to do more in person, like linking men up regionally to start groups within their geographical region. It has different programs online for men. You know, if they're struggling with different passions, there's programs that can address those. There are more general kind of mutual accountability, goal setting type groups. They offer, I think it's twice monthly. They do different lectures from different speakers. They've had Father Stephen DeYoung on there. They've had other prominent Orthodox priests and teachers. Yeah, I think that's a good general rundown of it.
That's really cool. And that's awesome. So is this mostly online or is this in person?
They have had a few meetups. Father Michael Butler's parish actually near Sam in Livonia, Michigan. They've had a couple meetups there. They weren't explicitly St. Paisios Brotherhood meetups, but it was like basically all St. Paisios Brotherhood guys that went there. Father Michael Butler's one of the founders of the Brotherhood, and then Father Hans Jacobsy is the other founder. He's out of Florida. I can't remember exactly which city he's in, but there's also link ups with the Amen group, which is the Antiochian men. Father Hans is the spiritual director, the spiritual guide, or I forget the term, spiritual father, I guess, of the Amen. So there's some crossover there as well. They do a lot of in-person stuff, you know, within the Antiochian diocese, I think in the South primarily, but.
That's really cool. Okay. Well, I know you guys got together and started Lampstand. I know we're here to talk about Artos, but can you talk to us a little bit about Lampstand first?
Yeah,
Yes.
happy to.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, I just thought we just, take it in
Yeah,
order.
maybe we can all talk at the same time. Be like monkeys at a typewriter. But yeah, please go. Sam.
Yeah, so Lampstand was created out of a desire to connect three of us, like you mentioned, and really try and make some kind of a profitable venture. I'm sure you're familiar with the hustle, doing what you do. And when we came together, we really had a desire to be a place that lifts up the light of Orthodoxy in digital spaces, to be that stand for that kind of digital light. And that sort of set in, and it kind of works really well with some of the clientele that we've been able to serve. They really like that kind of idea. One of the people, our first kind of people who took a swing on us were the people at the Super Dinner Society. Our buddies, Daniel, shout out Daniel, shout out David over there. They, put their faith in us, and we were able to bang out a pretty baller website, if I may say so myself, and kind of use that to be our first big splash. Of course, we've all done the work for years before that, but it was really nice to have that in our back pocket as sort of a portfolio piece that really stood out. But yeah, I do the design, Liam does the development, Tim does the business, and it all just kind of works together. I was going to mention something that came together for me when we first started was I just really appreciated not only the complementary skill sets, but also the complementary personalities. Like everyone here is very, like there's no one who's like in the same lane. We're all in our own lanes, and also like just complement each other, the way we view the world, the way we think about things, the way we operate, the way we get stuff done, the struggles that we have. It's been just a massive opportunity to grow as brothers and men, and like, actually in our salvation, doing the creative work. So a big blessing.
That's awesome. It's amazing how God brings people together like that. And finding that through Orthodoxy too, like I find all the time, even outside of the business realm and stuff, like it's always just such a small but vast world in Orthodoxy. I actually just had a friend who I've never met in person, but I feel that way with like people that you grow close with on Instagram, or in the online space. And she had posted a picture with someone else who I did know. And I had no idea that they were even connected, because she's at St. Tikhon's, and the girl that I did know is from Charleston. I was like, how do you two know each other? And then I'm over in Pittsburgh. And yeah, I just find that happens all the time in Orthodoxy. And so then when God brings people together like that, and it just benefits Orthodoxy in general, too. And and everyone in it, in this kind of world. I think that that's awesome that you guys are able to do that. So what is Artos?
Artos Market, it's an online store. Just probably the easiest way to envision it is it's an online marketplace where Orthodox businesses, parishes, monasteries, etc. Doesn't have to be small businesses. It can be businesses of any size. They can sign up to sell goods to not just other Orthodox Christians, but a general audience. If people want something in their mind's eye, it's very similar to Etsy in terms of how people list their store, how it's a marketplace, but a centralized place where people can go just to purchase goods from Orthodox vendors. It doesn't necessarily have to be icons or, you know, prayer ropes. We obviously welcome those, but it's just in general people who are Orthodox Christians to be able to have a place where they know that the money that's coming in and being transacted is staying within the Orthodox Christian space and is really driving the faith and building up the body of Christ in that way.
That's awesome. So kind of like Public Square also? Or Public Square, I think, was like all American companies or something.
Yeah, the idea, and this is something, my background besides development is in the regenerative agriculture space. And just for a long time, I've been thinking about alternative systems and places that people can go besides the mainstream. Speaking of, for instance, food in America, it's very centralized, very just agrochemical, agro-corporate. And so for a long time, I've been thinking of alternative communities and avenues where people can go to have a space where basically, I don't want to say like for the little guy, but basically where people can transact without sort of Silicon Valley and stuff like that, you know, breathing down their neck and all of that.
That's awesome.
How did you come up with this idea for Artos, and what does the name mean?
I can do the idea. It was Tim who had the name. So it just goes back to building things for communities. I was involved with community building in real estate for a while, and thinking about eventually my wife and I want to have a farm, and just in general thinking about how can we have a sense of community. And then coming into Orthodoxy, it's like I find that community that I've been looking for so long, and this sense of really being joined to something that's greater than myself that I want to give back to in some way. And the guys were gracious enough to let me drag them along for a bit, and then we all just put our heads together and came up with like, well, you know, this is the feature that we should have at launch, and this is how it should look, and just kind of really just talking it through so that it comes together. And then I was like, I don't know what to name this. I'm better at making things than naming them. I don't know. I was like, should I make this joke? But as you just asked my wife, but anyway.
So Tim, tell us how you came up with the name then.
I don't remember if it was me that came up with that name specifically. I think that was a group effort. But Artos is Greek for leavened bread, and actually at Pascha there's like the Paschal Artos, which is like the traditional like tall bread that I think some people put like make it like a sweet bread or so in Orthodoxy, obviously, you know, we're using leavened bread for the Eucharist. There's a lot of symbology there with, you know, the yeast and the wheat and the water, and, you know, the work of man being synergistic with, you know, with God's creation. You know, we're co-creating with God. So we see Artos as our creation, obviously, but we're doing it hopefully, you know, for God's glory and for the benefit of His church. And we like to view the people who are going to use Artos, you know, the vendors and the people going on there who will, you know, purchase and transact on Artos as the leaven. You know, that's the real engine. The life behind Artos is really going to be the people using it, because we could build, you know, we could put wheat and water and mix it together. You know, we can build this thing, and then, you know, it could just be a flat piece of dead, you know, nothing. If the vendors don't come in, if the community doesn't start using it, then, you know, it won't go anywhere. But so that's what we're hoping. You know, we're hoping the Orthodox community will respond, and, you know, we'll work together to, make Artos rise.
I was excited for him to ask you guys that question because actually, someone we're close with, the godfather of our son. He's the choir director currently down at St. John of the Ladder in South Carolina, and I mentioned to him about what you guys are doing because he's actually starting his own business where he wants to help form Orthodox ensembles and like really provide more education around Orthodox music and virtual lessons and stuff like that. And I mentioned Artos, and he goes, the leavened bread marketplace. And I didn't know that that's what that meant. And he just said it. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, that's what that word means. It means leavened bread. And I was like, oh. So I was really curious to hear. And I love you about that because your logo, I think, is the top of Prosphora, is right? Is your logo that, yeah, it's the seal on Prosphora. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I think their logo is actually the bread. So I was really excited whenever I was coming up with the questions. He's the one who said, where did they get their name from? I was like, you know what? Good question. I want to know. So I love how you brought that together. That is really, really beautiful and symbolic. And name. I know that this wasn't in my questions that I sent you guys, but I want to focus a lot on like the meaning behind Artos because I love what you guys are cultivating in the community you're trying to build. And so I want to go to each of you. What does Artos mean to you? And like what is like some of your biggest prayers that you're praying for Artos and to come out of Artos and stuff? So let's start with Sam.
Sure.
What does Artos mean to you?
Yeah, I've been working in tech for over a decade. My dad was in software, and I'm sure you're familiar, maybe not, but Paul Kingsnorth with this book Against the Machine, he's come up, done a really good job of communicating this concept of the machine as a way of describing this economic systems focused, kind of the right hand, the kind of control oriented mechanistic way of approaching interaction with other people, with other humans. And my love and joy is to try and create, and technology just happens to be at the top of that in a way. And it's like at the pinnacle of that sort of pyramid, if you think of that as a pyramid or a Tower of Babel or something like that. And so when I think about making creative things using technology, I try and think, well, what would if that's sort of the kingdom of empire, what would a kingdom of shalom building approach look like? How could you make software in a way that not only has a great end, but is done with a great means, and a means that is collaborative with the materials, collaborative with the approach of life, which is at peace and harmony with the created order, let's say. So to me, being able to work with these guys has been this great opportunity because I also, I do work in the more traditional, space, let's say. To work with these guys, it's been such a revelatory kind of breath of fresh air to see like you can do this kind of work in a way that doesn't leave you at a breathless pace, that doesn't always ask for more, that doesn't always that puts people and in the proper hierarchy, where mammon isn't the highest god, but the service to the people in the church and Christ ultimately all the way up the hierarchy. So I don't know, for me it's more about the way of building and getting to do it in a way that's wholesome and truly valuable on a deeper level, and to be creative in that way. And then also, of course, what's actually being built I think is going to be great for the community, as we've already discussed, but I'll let the other guys speak to some of that stuff.
Tim, do you want to go next? I feel like I'm like calling each of you out.
Sure. Well, it's an interesting first interview podcast. You have 3 guests at once. So.
Right.
Yeah. Artos for me it's like Liam alluded to earlier, it's an alternative system, kind of like an escape hatch for a lot of the companies and the systems that are being built by them, the platforms being built by them that are, at this point, a lot of them are directly opposed, to the faith. They work contrary to the faith. They're not concerned about, the kingdom of God. They're not concerned about those sorts of things. It's all for them. It's the people that use their platforms are just lines in their database, and they're building algorithms to try to manipulate that data and manipulate those people to do what they want to do. And so for me, Artos is it's an alternative system where it's built by Orthodox Christians for the Orthodox Christian community. When Christians hopefully are going on there to make their marketplace or use it, they know that it's built by people who care about their values, who care about the faith. And the money that's being transacted on there is, for the most part, staying within the Orthodox community. It's not funding some tech billionaire, in Silicon Valley. It's not going to causes and things that work against the faith. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it.
I love that. All right, Liam.
Yeah, to build on both of what Tim and Sam said, when Tim brought up the name Artos, it made me think of man does not live by bread alone. And obviously the bread and the wine make something that's beyond the sum of its parts. And in the same way, in our lives today, with the way that the currency is manipulated, I mean, I could go on and on and on of all this stuff, but there's a lack of, I mean, maybe my priest would call it phronema, but there's a lack of heart, and there's not a soul behind it, really. It really is a machine, to Sam's point. And so thinking about how can we bring life and light to the marketplace, to our transactions in our day-to-day lives, to our commerce. And I guess my prayer would be that this platform enables people who maybe wouldn't have created a business otherwise, or maybe wouldn't have put their talents out there into the world, see that there's a very just seamless way that's not in contradiction or conflict with their values, that they can just get up and running. Like maybe they just, they might make icons for fun, or they just bake cookies for fun, or, it's something, and they're like, oh, like this looks approachable and it looks human, and I want to be a part of that. And so that would be my prayer for it.
Okay. So I'm glad that you brought up the human question. Is AI going to be involved in Artos Marketplace at all?
I mean, disclaimer, I do use AI as a developer,
Okay.
But is it going to be like digesting any data through large language models or anything like that? No. Like, I think that if the community was like, we really want this AI feature, and everyone was like, yes, yes, yes. But no, I think I guess maybe going on a little bit of a tangent, but sort of my relationship with AI, but how I use it as a tool. I know I hate that, but I don't view it as artificial intelligence. I think that that's really just a buzzword or sort of corporate speak, because it can't have a human attribute. It's like artificial beauty, artificial love, like that. It wouldn't actually be that thing. That's really just kind of a way for transhumanists to sort of push this thing of like, it's intelligent, it's going to someday, be able to be a replacement for things that humans do. But it's just a really, really good search engine, basically. And as a developer, I was a developer for maybe 6-7 years in the Stone Ages, when you would just code by hand. And I would use search engines all the time. And I would basically say, like, maybe I look really good to the client, but I go and I'm like, hey, maybe our client shouldn't watch this, but I don't know. But we go and I'm like, how do I sort this array in this way? And there's levels to this stuff. So there's guys who are, they get called in by Amazon when their data center goes down, and they're just, up at night posting on forums like, here's how you do this really complex coding problem. And I would find it, and I would sort of copy paste it and then tweak it a little bit. That wouldn't be everything, but it was a really good asset. And now that's kind of what AI is in development. But in terms of in the use of the platform, not really. I think that it's really gimmicky in a lot of ways, and how it's being shoehorned. And I think venture capital is behind that in a lot of ways. So like I said, if people, they're clamoring for it, they're like, we really want you to process our data through OpenAI or something, then by all means we could have that conversation, but no.
No, I feel like the AI is just, I agree. I think that it's a tool that can be used if used cautiously, and can be used to help in a lot of ways, but I don't think it should be a substitute for human creativity or talent or anything like that. So, and I see that in the entrepreneurial world. Like, it definitely helps me write like sales pages and check my grammar on resource development, but I'm not going to have it do the work for me in creating curriculums or anything like that, or creating the artwork for any of the products and stuff. So I love that you guys do that. You want to ask the next one?
Yeah. It was mentioned about the response from the Orthodox public earlier. So what can people expect when they go to the Artos Marketplace website, both as vendors and as purchasers?
Yeah, for buyers or purchasers, if you've used Amazon or Etsy before, it's going to be a very similar experience. You just sign up for an account, add items to your cart, and check out, and it's pretty seamless in that way. For vendors, the application or sign up process is a little bit longer, just so we can verify your Orthodox status, so that we're not just allowing anybody to sign up for the platform, and we know that you have a valid business that is, I guess, tax registered and things like that. And there's just a maybe 1 or 2 day approval period. And then once you're on board, you sign up with our payment processor. Right now we're using Stripe. We would like to develop our own Orthodox payment processor. So if anybody is watching this, that is, we have like, we call it, we had our minimum viable product. It's becoming the maximum viable product, but we're trying to keep, we're trying to do one thing right and do it well. And then we also have a roadmap with various ideas. So we kind of do have to start with a little bit of the system that's already in place, like using Stripe, but we're interested in the future. And, this is just the beginning that we see in a lot of ways in terms of the potential that's out there for alternative systems and people to develop their own platforms and stuff. But anyway, once you get on the platform, it's very similar to like something like Shopify or Etsy. You can put up your products, list them. Your marketplace is good to go once you just upload like a banner and a logo and just sign up for payment processing. And anything else, you can also, we have a tool to import products from Shopify and Etsy. So if you already have a Shopify or Etsy store, we have like a little walkthrough. Here's how you export from it, and then you just take the like Excel spreadsheet or whatever it gives you, and we were able to import the products that way.
Nice.
Now, in one of the emails when we were chatting back and forth, you mentioned an affiliate program. Is that similar to like the Amazon influencers program, where like if I share my Amazon link and someone goes and shops from anything on the Amazon link, I earn a small percentage of commission back from whatever they shopped with? Is it similar to that, or?
Yeah, Tim, could you talk to that a little bit? Because we were architecting that together. Tim is the business guy. He's like, we need that, these different things. So I was like, okay, we'll build it.
Sure. I want to start with a disclaimer, because this is all like subject to change, as we see how the platform is being used, how the economics is working out and everything. But at launch, what we're going to have is an ambassador link program. So if you have an Etsy Artos store, you can sign up to create an ambassador link, what that link will allow you to do is then you can share that with your marketing channels, and anyone who clicks through that link to your store and purchases through your store, you get 50% off of platform commissions. So right now, the commission for the platform is 10% of the transaction value. We tried to make that relative parity to like Etsy and other platforms. So it would be 5%, if people are using your ambassador link. The other two programs that we have, we call them partner programs. One of them is a curator program. So if you have a following on social media, you can create a curated list of products. You can go on there and say, hey, I like this icon store. I like, this person makes good candles, or here's some good coffee. You can make a curator list and then send that out to your followers and say, hey, if you purchase through this list, I'll get a kickback. And I think was it 3%, Liam?
I think so.
Yeah. So you'll get a 3% kickback. So that's similar to like Amazon affiliate marketing.
Does the kickback come from the individual businesses that are selling their products, or how does that work?
No, that would basically be the commission that would go to us. Instead of us getting 10%, we would only get 7%.
Oh,
so then
okay.
that extra 3% would go towards the curator. So yeah, it wouldn't be extra on top of coming out the vendor's pocket. No.
I know these are probably getting into like some nitty gritty like tech questions and stuff, but like my audience, I do have a lot of Orthodox businesses that would be interested in having platforms on Artos. So when, for example, for MBM Press, for my own business, if I'm creating the pricing of my planners, which is usually $50, would I need to like increase that price then to offset the cost of what the fee would be to be on Artos, or like how would that, what would you recommend for businesses?
That would be on a case by case basis. It depends on, what the cost of your product is, what margin are you trying to hit? Are you expecting to get most of your sales to come through an ambassador link? Then you can, shave off 5%. You're only going to pay 5% to Artos. If you get a lot of people coming organically just through Artos, then you're paying the 10% because, they're not coming through your ambassador link. So that's kind of, individual case by case, and depending on what kind of margins you're trying to hit.
Okay. I don't personally have a store on Amazon, so I'm kind of like new to that. But I have like the influencer link where like anything I share from Amazon, I earn a percentage back from Amazon, but I don't have a store on Amazon, if that makes sense. Like a storefront, but it's not my own products. It's just like lists that I make of other products that I like and recommend. Yeah, it's the curator thing. Amazon.
Yep.
Could parishes use Artos for their own like bookstores, or for if they want to promote events that they might charge for and something? Like I know that there was a local Greek parish near us that just did a women's event. They had like a panel of Orthodox women talking about women in the church and stuff, which was really cool. But could parishes use Artos in that way also?
Yeah, Liam, do you want to speak to that other partner program? Because you have the curator link, and then there's that other one, was it affiliate or parish affiliate?
Yeah, I think it's affiliate. It's if I don't have it up in front of me, it all kind of blurs together, but it's basically parishes or sort of organizations, or it doesn't have to be just parishes, but they can have their own page where I believe if it's people go through this page, then the business or parish or whatever receives a commission of people coming onto the website through that page. So that's just another way to make revenue. But in terms of just listing books for sale, then parishes can absolutely do that. It's like very well set up for that. For promoting events, doing sales of like tickets and things like that, we do have digital items allowed on the platform or facilitated through the platform, so people could sell an ebook or a ticket or something, and then it comes with a PDF. In terms of robust event management and things like that, where it's like, maybe, let me think, you have a whole list of the people coming and you're able to like send email blasts to them and things like that. Maybe something like Eventbrite, it doesn't have that capability, but maybe I'll say this frequently through the interview. Like, we have a roadmap, and if there's a demand for it, then we're totally open to, a couple of months down the road, okay, we can come out with this new feature, and we're interested in being sort of community driven in that way.
You've definitely done a really good job with that through your Telegram chat. I don't know if you guys want to talk to that a little bit. You guys have a Telegram chat that all of the businesses that are the founding businesses and stuff that are part of Artos get to be on, and like questions get answered. We get to kind of like talk about things. And you guys recently divided it up into a bunch of specific chats for like if you had questions about this, if you want help growing your business, things like that. Like you separated that, which is really, really cool. Do you guys want to talk to the Telegram that you guys started?
Sure. Yeah. So like Liam said, we want to be community driven. We want to build this together with the Orthodox community. Like, in no way do we want to, are we coming at it like we know like how to build Artos and we know what's best and we're going to do it. And you guys are going to like it. Like,
but
no,
I do know how to build Artos. So I will say that.
You guys know what I mean. You know what I mean. So we started the Telegram as like a really close-knit channel of the vendors, so that they have direct contact with us. So it's not like you're not going on Artos and you're emailing like support at Artos and you're like, I hope I get an email back. Like, no, you can go into the chat room and it's like we're in the chat room there. So like if you have an issue with your store, if you have a question, if you have an idea for a cool new feature, anything, you can go on there and chat with us or chat with other Orthodox businesses.
Now, speaking of the community side, I'm going to kind of combine two questions into one. Would then a business who signs up to to promote their products through Artos, would that completely replace like a Shopify or a Squarespace website that they would previously have for their business? And if so, what kind of features can that business expect through Artos, like email marketing or private communities, things like that?
So at this time, it's not a full replacement. That's why we use Etsy as the example, where it's sort of a shared place where if somebody just thinks, or like Amazon is another good example, like I just want to buy a new coffee grinder or something. Oh, there's like an artisan coffee grinder. He's on Artos. I can just go there, search it, and it's right there. But in terms of having your own domain and that sort of like robust, I guess, community email marketing management, we're not there yet. Like I said, trying to just nail this one thing, and also just put it on the roadmap, guys. Just like, like we honestly will probably build out the roadmap a little bit so people can like vote on different features and stuff like that. But I do also have an idea of how we could have it be simple but powerful, and how we do it where people can have their own domain, and it maybe goes to a sort of like their own little part of Artos. But this is all just, this is my brain roadmap right now, just sort of in the back of my head of ways that I've thought of it. So we've considered it, but it's not at launch.
Okay. That's awesome. I'm excited to see like what continues to come too. Like I love that the way you guys are starting and then already thinking about the ways to expand.
What are some examples of vendors you already have lined up for Artos?
Tim has been pretty involved with the community, so maybe he has more that he can speak to, but we've had like people who make sourdough, who do woodworking, I think people who make books, candles, just a really like eclectic bunch of people. I think we have around 50 people who have expressed interest in signing up already. And there's just a really wide spectrum. And I guess we expect that we hope that it continues to grow in terms of what is available on Artos as time goes on.
Now, I know that we're excited about all of them, but is there any specifically that have like stuck out that you're like, I'm really excited for this one?
Another free ad of the week.
Yeah.
I'm like, is it okay for me to just name drop?
They're not allowed to say they have favorites, I'm sure.
Not fair, but like you can have some that you're like excited for or something.
We'll answer that if you tell us which is your favorite kid.
Well, it depends on.
It's a great answer, Sam.
Depends on the day. It depends on who is doing what.
Well, there you go. That's your answer.
None of them. That's the answer.
Yeah, the best is yet to come, I guess. I don't know.
All right. Good answer. I just wasn't sure. I don't know. That's anyways.
Is there a monthly fee for vendors on Artos? I'm going to move along after that one.
There's no monthly fee for either vendors or people coming on the platform to buy. We want to make it as accessible as possible so that people who want to sell on the platform right now it's earning money through that commission of the 10% on every sale. And we want to make it accessible so that if people are like, I want to be able to sell this product that I'm making, I'm an Orthodox Christian, there's that much less of a barrier to like, do I want to pay that monthly fee? We have talked about maybe, and like subscriptions in many ways are like the bane of my existence. Like they can get very, they pile on top of each other.
Yeah.
But we were talking about, like for instance, if it was like a really powerful email marketing feature that we introduced and we're like, it's going to make you X more dollars, maybe we do a monthly thing for that. But we, as much as possible, don't want to just gatekeep people from just being able to succeed on the platform. So
Yeah.
Nice. We covered that one. Is there going to be an app, or is it just is it going to be an app, or is it just the website?
It's just the website at launch. Just developing an app, there are a lot of tools to make it easier, but it is just more development time, and we want to get it out there for people to start using. So it's probably at least a couple of months, but we do have it on that roadmap. So it's one of the first things where I'm like, I know that we need an app, but just got to get it out there first. So,
but it'll be mobile friendly, and so if there's places where it's not, definitely let us know, and we'll make little adjustments as needed.
Now I know I already got reprimanded. There's no favorites. I know that. But Would you say, do you know the difference between, because I feel like oftentimes whenever you hear about Orthodox businesses, you're thinking about prayer ropes and icons and all those things, which is wonderful. But there's also a lot of Orthodox Christians who just own businesses that aren't Orthodox products per se. Do you happen to know off the bat with the 50 that you have signed up, like what the ratio is from Orthodox products to Orthodox owned businesses?
Tim, could you maybe speak to that? He's a little more knowledgeable about that.
I don't think I could give even a good estimate on the ratio. I'd say, just to throw a number out there, it's probably at least 50%, people making icons and prayer ropes and, strictly like Orthodox related content. But I'll give a couple shout outs. So there's Scola Coffee. I did an interview with him, Basil at Scola Coffee. So he's roasting coffee. He's putting out, artisanal, good whole bean coffee. There's also, I'll give another shout out because this is a fellow New Hampshireite, Shire Skincare. She makes,
Yes, I love her.
different skincare products.
Yes.
I can't think of, there's, what was the other one I did for the interview? The sourdough.
Crumbs and Creations. Or no, not Crumbs and Creations. Oh,
Yes, Mary B's Crumb. Yeah.
Crumbs. Yeah. I remember
Crust and Crumb. There it is. Mary B's
Yes.
Crust and Crumb.
Yes.
So she makes sourdough. She's out in Arizona. I think she actually makes sourdough for one of the monasteries out there. I don't know if it's St. Anthony's, but she's making bread for them, and she's shipping bread out. So she's excited. I know she'll probably, once we launch, I'm guessing she's going to be the first one on there making a store. So
That's exciting. That's awesome. Is there anything you guys really want to share from Artos or founding Artos, or what you're really looking forward to with your roadmap that you keep talking about, and the ideas and plans you have?
I think I also don't want to spill the beans too much. Like we have some exciting things that even just in the last week through the Orthodox network of people who we've talked to about it, just new opportunities and things that could be in the future. But also in software development and in life, there's scope creep. So it's like I don't want to spoil too much of the surprises. But I'm really just hoping that that people are successful using the platform. And like I said, it's a human-centric platform. It's for Orthodox Christians to be able to network and connect and to succeed as small businesses. I think that there's just a lot of turmoil and difficulties in the world, and as much as possible, we just want to create things that help people to spread light and creativity and beauty into the world as much as possible. So that's really the ethos that's driving all of it. If I could just be a hobbit, just making things for people for the rest of my life, that's what I would do, and that's what I hope to do by the grace of God. And this is what I'm making right now. This is what we're making. So,
Well, kind of piggybacking off that with the whole Hobbit theme, if let's say I make Orthodox widgets and I do just want to be a hobbit and live in a hill, I don't need an Instagram or a Facebook page or a website. I could just make my widgets by the fire and list them for sale on Artos, essentially solely on Artos, and use your platform essentially for marketing. That, while people are on the website, they may stumble across my widgets and then be able to purchase them essentially only through Artos. And then if I were so inclined, I wouldn't have to do any of the marketing or the emails or customer relations or make myself approachable in any manner whatsoever. And I could just do the widgets, smoke my pipe, and mail out sold product whenever I wanted. That would be a possibility through Artos.
yeah, I think we might be neighbors actually in the Shire.
Do you have a plan in mind?
None of that was a fantasy, I swear.
No, I think that's really prescient that you brought that up, and I'm glad that you did, because that's another thing that we haven't touched on, is that also having Artos as a place where, and I'm speaking from personal experience, I'm not necessarily the type of person who enjoys networking through social media. There's just people have different skills and stuff, and I think that there's a lot of people out there who, you know, they're just different type of personality, or they just want to make the thing and just put it up there, and so they don't have to interface with these platforms that are really engineered to hook you in and to kind of change your behavior and have all these very like secret esoteric things going on. It's like, just forget all of that. Like, we can just put it on Artos, and we have things like SEO, so your products get found when people search on search engines, and yeah, you can really just sidestep a lot of that.
It could be somebody that wants to put themselves out there, or you could live as a monk and still get your product out to the world.
That would be a huge blessing. That'd be amazing.
Wonderful.
I can't wait to talk to you more about that and what your ideas are.
I think you could tell from the idea I don't want to talk about it.
All right. When are you guys thinking you're going to launch? I know we're all excited.
We're aiming for the end of this month, so it's March 2026, and we will be launching in the USA, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. And I say that with excitement and trepidation, because we started down the road and then we were like, you know what, I think we can do it. So I don't know if I think we already announced that on Instagram. So
yeah, you just announced it. I was super excited whenever I saw that. And I mean, it's kind of crazy. We have like a big Orthodox community in Australia and New Zealand and stuff.
Well, that's where the literal hobbits are, over there in New Zealand.
yeah, New Zealand.
Gotta support them.
It's all, we have a real plan that works here, but that's the secret roadmap I was talking about.
That is amazing. I'm so excited for you guys. This has been a pleasure having you guys on here and just getting to know you guys over the last year and seeing everything you guys have been developing. I know with both of my businesses, I am excited to be a part of Artos and to contribute to what you guys are doing, and also, God willing, contribute to the rest of the Orthodox community and help get some more businesses lined up with you guys. You said you have 50 so far signed up, and how many were you hoping to get to for founding vendors?
To 100.
To 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
And beyond.
Now's your chance.
We'll be sure to include the sign up link if you're interested in being a founder in the show notes of the episode. So anyone interested can go down to the show notes and you'll get all of that information there. I also have your Instagram channel. Where all can everyone find you guys? Tell us where everyone can find you.
It is at Artos Market, I think on all platforms, at least Instagram. That's probably the best place to go. And then Artos Market, ARTOS market.com.
Okay. Awesome.
Not in the Shire.
No.
Soon.
One of us is
Under
in
the hill.
New Hampshire.
Ah, that was good.
Well, do you have any last questions or anything? It has been wonderful having you guys on here. Thank you for all that you're doing and all that you're building and all that you're contributing to the Orthodox world. And we just pray that God blesses this endeavor and everything that you guys are doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
for having us.
Yeah.
It's a joy.